to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We're grateful for all of your participation, listening to the show on CKLU 96.7 FM or CKLU.ca, or our live streams at Facebook.com/Sudbury News, YouTube.com/Sudbury News. Thanks for being with us, whether you're listening or you're watching. We really appreciate you. We appreciate your listenership for the radio and your viewership on our social media platforms. So if you wish to support CKLU, you can do so by going to CKLU.ca. We rely on listener support, and we really appreciate it. You can buy some merch. You can just donate. You can volunteer. There's many ways to support. If you want to support this show in particular, you go to you just email transfer sudburynews@gmail.com. So we appreciate that. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Mainly comment, though. I'll do my best to get the comments up on the screen for everybody here. And that's that. That's what we definitely encourage you to do, is to comment, because it's your show. It's your conversation, our conversation on your station, CKLU 96.7 FM. If you go to the CKLU website, you can download the app, the Radio Player Canada app, and you can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. And make sure to do that if that's something that you like podcasts. You like just listening to things and whatever it is on the radio, you don't listen to conventional radio. You can listen to it on your favorite device, kind of thing, right? We got a great show lined up for you today. We'll have, a conversation about the Ward 2 councillor, Michael Vagnini, who's still missing. There's no updates other than the fact that he is still missing. Same information. There's no new information on that, but we will discuss it. And we do have new information from my discussion with Monique, one of our viewers here. On the phone. I want to get her on the show, but unfortunately, we have to do it over the phone. And unfortunately, I don't have a device here that will enable me to have a phone interview, just because you need adapters and things like that, which I do not have here. I will be traveling home tonight, so maybe, just maybe, I can have a conversation with her over the next today, and see if I can get the component that will enable me to do a phone interview, and then we'll hear it right from the horse's mouth. Some more information about Michael Vagnini, Ward 2 councillor, who is still missing, but the media left out so much information that just from a simple conversation with someone who spoke to him just before he went missing, there's so much more information there that might be important to get out. So I don't know. So we'll talk more about that when we come back after weather and sports. And with that, my prediction of the weather is coming true. If you were watching the last couple of days, we'll have more on that. There's not so many sunny days anymore, and it just keeps eating away at the forecast that there were indeed going to be 4 sunny days when I gave the weather 2 days ago. And then yesterday it was 3 sunny days, and I said, watch what's going to happen to that. Anyways, my prediction came true. So we'll have more on that. We'll have a little bit of sports and local news headlines, including the whereabouts of Ward 2 councillor Michael Vagnini and more, and then a deep dive into the state of Canada which we can't avoid because it's not in the greatest state in the world. So we'll be back with weather. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great show right after this. And Sudbury Weather is brought to you by sudburyweather.ca as usual. Current conditions, it is 0 degrees Celsius out there. There is light drizzle. We can expect today to be cloudy with a 40% chance of rain showers or flurries. Fog patches dissipating this morning. The wind will be gusting up to about 40 this afternoon. The high +2. And tonight, cloudy. Wind north, 20 kilometers, gusting to 40. Becoming light overnight. Low of -9. Wind chill -7 this evening. And -16 overnight. A little cooler overnight. And then Friday, cloudy. Cloudy on Friday. Clearing late in the morning. High of -2. Wind chill -14 in the morning, -4 in the afternoon. And here we go. Voila. So as you can see, it doesn't look as sunny as it used to be. Friday clearing -2. Now, one day sunny instead of 4 down to 3. They even skipped a step to go from 2 to 1. They went right from 3 to 1 sunny day in the forecast, and I'll even be surprised if that whole day is sunny because we don't get sunny days anymore, full sunny days. So sunny on Friday, +1. Mix of sun and cloud, not sunny totally, on Sunday, high of 0. Mix of sun and cloud for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as well. -2 Monday, -1 Tuesday. -2 Monday, -1 Tuesday, and 0 on Wednesday. Yes, February the 7th. It will be 0 degrees 1 week into February already. Very mild winter. Feels like a cool summer almost, or at least a fall or a spring. So yeah, and then I'll look at our satellite. We'll just give it a reboot because that was from yesterday, and see if we can get something here. So that's kind of like that's what it looks like over Northern Ontario. It's excuse me, a lot of clouds, and that's what we're used to, right? A lot of clouds. And so, yeah, my prediction was true. We aren't getting 4 days of pure sun. That is impossible. I challenge those that are in charge of geoengineering to allow 4 days of sun. And I said it, yeah, allow it without, throwing things in the sky to make it cloudy as part of the geoengineering program. You can't have a full sunny day anymore. Look, if you don't believe me, just look up when you're outside. Just be aware and see if what I'm saying is true. Okay? And then think to yourself, yeah, you know what? 20 years ago, or when I was a kid, if you're older, if you are young, you won't remember this. And that's what I think the plan is. So eventually people won't even remember a full sunny day. Eventually. You look back and say, I remember sunny days, full sunny days without a cloud in the sky. How come it's not like that today? That's weird. I wonder what causes that. Oh, it must be climate change. Climate change causes jets to fly over us, leaving long trails crisscross across the sky, and then make it cloudy. That's what climate change causes. It actually gets into jets' computers and makes them fly very weirdly and cause us to have cloudy days all the time. Oddly enough. Or is it our reaction to what we believe is climate change, and we're trying to hold it back, is what the scientists are telling us. That's why they're geoengineering. They're trying to cool down the earth, and so they're throwing these clouds into the skies. Fake ones with using aircrafts. And what's in the stuff. Anyways, that's the question you need to ask. You need to wonder about, because that's what's going on over your head each and every day. If it's totally cloudy, you won't notice. But on a sunny day, notice what starts to happen in the clear skies. It's very easy to see it. It's going on over the clouds when there are clouds too. But anyways, that's your weather. It's brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Be back with local sports, local news headlines, and more right after this. Your Sudbury Wolves will be in action tonight. I'm in charge of making sure that game goes ahead on CKLU 96.7, the radio station that you're listening to right now, if you're listening on the radio or the Radio Player Canada app. We got the play-by-play. They're in Niagara, and then Niagara Falls to face the Niagara Ice Dogs. Then they are heading to Brantford to face the Bulldogs on Friday. Then they'll be back in town on Sunday to face the Mississauga Ice Dogs. But if you want to catch a game here in town, you can check out the 5 this Friday at 7, and they're going to host Newfoundland Friday. So catch the 5 right here in Greater Sudbury at the Sudbury Arena as they take on Newfoundland. That's your Sudbury Sports. We'll be back with news headlines and much more right after this. All right, welcome back. We got a good chunk of people on already. Thanks for being with us, everyone. And with that, let's see who we got here. Marianne, good morning from Barrie. Liked and shared. Thank you so very much. And Judy, first, most of the time, or a lot of the time, to the Facebook party. Good morning, Judy. Monique, speaking of you this morning, and I hope when I'm saying things, I'm not saying things off the cuff or giving wrong information. And I am working on getting the devices that I need to have you come on the show, and we're really looking forward to that. Debbie, good morning. And all these smiley emojis, I really appreciate it. Maurice, good morning. Belinda, good morning. If not us, who? If not now, when? The future we are fighting for will change the course of history, and that is so true. A lot of times we just look back in history and we think, history doesn't happen anymore. History's in the past. Well, history's in the making. You're a part of it, right? You are part of what future generations will look back on. What will they say? What will you have done? So that's really interesting to think of. It is so true. Marianne says, I've been like that for a couple of years now, especially in the winter. Mind you, this summer here, we hardly had sunny days, mostly rain, for sure. And that's all part of the weather manipulation on purpose through geoengineering to cool down the earth. And it's just, might as well just get out and say it. It's public now. And yeah, but did you vote for that? Did you want that? Is that something everyone agreed upon? Good morning, Vin. Thanks for being with us. Much appreciated. And Leandre says, I know I'm struggling to feed my family, but I'm sure glad my taxes can fund the war. No, for sure. I'm sure many of us are glad that billions of our dollars goes to places that we never chose for our money to go, right? Imagine if the government just showed up at your door and asked for money. Okay, there's a war going on in some foreign land. We need you to give us $100 right now. And you'd be go, I don't think so. And then they put a gun to your head and say, give us $100 now. Well, they don't have to do that. You just automatically pay taxes, and they do whatever they want with it, whether you like it or not. That's a great gig for them. They must love it. They don't have to fight for the money or nothing. They just got it. You just have to give it to them, or you go to jail, right? And then they do whatever they want with it. So I don't know if I agree with most of where our money goes at all. Yet, I have to pay at least 40% of what I make towards them giving my money to things I don't agree with, which is pretty interesting. Denise, Guy, the deepest blue sky, we haven't seen that for a long time. It's like powder blue. Yeah, so a different kind of blue even, right? It's like a light blue because there's always a haze in the sky along with the blue skies, correct? Belinda says, I tried calling the Sudbury airport. They should have been able to identify aircraft going over, especially last summer. They would not return my call. I called the city. Nobody seems to know what the aircrafts are doing in our area. Correct. I called CBC one day too, back in the day, thinking, well, maybe they just have dark sunglasses on and they don't look up when they're driving or outside and they don't notice these things. I said, can you please do a story on this? And to their credit, I remember someone did do a story on it. It was the only story I ever heard when they were talking about U.S. military jets over Sudbury spraying. And I was like, wow. And then that was it. That was all I heard about it, just one day. And because they were flying very low that day, like even people that aren't really that perceptive of things were going, why are jets, 7 or 8 of them flying in unison, spraying us over our heads, and they had to do a story on it, I guess. But when I called, there was no real response or anything. Marianne, sad times for everyone. So sorry for the struggle. It should never happen in Canada. Meanwhile, politicians are taking another raise. That is true. 5 and 4 years, apparently. Mike, good morning, friends. Thanks for joining us, Mike. It's going to be a good show. We're hoping for the safe return of Ward 2 Councillor, your colleague, Michael Vagnini. And we might have a little bit more information on him when we get rolling here. Vin figured out they are going to further online censorship. Yes, we were waiting for this. Online needs more censorship. Now it's to protect the children. So Chuck Schumer is grilling Zuckerberg and the same people that won't release the Epstein list and made mandatory vaxes for kids want more authority to protect kids by controlling the internet. Look, just came through university recently. I went as an adult, right? And I was in communications, and yeah, we talked a lot about censorship on the internet, and I did a project on it, and there's no way it's not going to be more censored. It's, we know who invented the internet, really, right? The military. It's a military invention, and sure, it was made public and made so that way everyone can use it. It's an information gathering tool for the most part, along with so many other things. And we are on the internet now, and we really appreciate the technology itself, right? So, but it's like weapons themselves. A weapon can be used by a good person in a good way to keep people safe. A weapon can also be used for for destructive purposes by somebody who isn't so nice, kind of thing, right? But here you go. It's governments see the opportunity to utilize, and they have the power and the ability to police and to make policies and laws so that way it's used to their benefit and not just the general public's benefit. Sound familiar at all? Okay, so let's see here. Evelyn from YouTube. The problem is our politicians never tell the truth. Okay, that's a blanket statement. I mean, I'm sure they tell the truth too, but I'm also sure where you're getting at that a lot of times they don't. So any questions Canadians have is irrelevant anyways. Even our court system is corrupt now. Well, we did have a ruling from the federal courts saying that the Emergencies Act was unconstitutional. So that kind of gives a little bit of hope in some ways, right? But yeah, no, you're right. I think you share a point of view of a lot of people out there that are just kind of losing faith in the system itself, and it's not good. It doesn't help anything. Unbelievable. They're great at playing stupid. Good rising, Monique. Thanks for being with us. Okay, so we do have to get along. And Denise says, remember last year? It was January. The carbon tax went up and coast to coast. They started spring every single day, and everybody started calling in. Spraying every day? I'm not sure if that's what you meant to say there. But anyways, good morning, Natalie. Much appreciated. Thumbs up. Thanks for joining us. And again, we're going to be talking about Michael Vagnini. If you guys have any other information other than what we have you wanted to share, that would be much appreciated. We're hoping for his safe return. No, there's no updates as it stands right now. The police on their Facebook page just keep sharing the same thing. We're still looking, still same information, right? So keep the comments coming in. We really appreciate you guys. And so, yeah, with that, Sudbury.com, good morning stories to start your day. I guess what's at the top, missing city councilor's truck, last seen traveling westbound. A residential video surveillance camera captured Michael Vagnini's truck traveling westbound on McCharles Lake Road between Whitefish and Naughton at approximately 5:40 p.m. on January the 27th. This Greater Sudbury Police Service noted in a media release issued at 4 p.m. yesterday. So that's the only new information I guess we have, is that it confirms that and the time and where. It verified the sighting of the Greater Sudbury City Council member Ward 2. Based on that information, it's believed that the vehicle and driver may have left the area. According to the media release, shortly after 5:40, the vehicle matching the description was captured on video surveillance by a local business on Regional Road 55 west of Highway 24. Although it appeared to be driving eastbound toward Lively. Interesting. So it looked like he was coming back, I guess. A vehicle matching the description, although it appeared to be driving eastward toward Lively, GSPS reported that they cannot confirm that it was Vagnini's truck due to part of the video quality. Officers continue to canvass residences and businesses in Lively and east of Lively, leading towards Greater Sudbury. Let's see here. For additional video surveillance footage to confirm whether the vehicle was in fact Michael Vagnini's, according to the media release. So they see some video footage, but they're not able to confirm that. Now, we do have a new person on here I haven't really seen before, sharing a bunch of information, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Appreciate, I don't know, it looks like spam to me. So anyways, it is what it is. That's happened a couple times, but a job opportunity, look at that. So you might be able to apply for a job. Anyways, looks like spam, so be aware and be careful if there's anyone spamming the show. Okay, yeah, they can ping a vehicle. Something is off about this disappearance. So that's Marianne. Now, can they ping any vehicle, or does it have to be equipped with a GPS device of some kind, like a tracking device? Can we just ping any old vehicle? I don't know. Is that possible, right? There's these OnStar things that vehicles have and stuff like that. Did he have that in his vehicle? Didn't have a cell phone. So that's very worrisome. According to firsthand experience, and I was able to interview, somebody who's on the show every day, said that he came. They were at the Freedom Rally on Paris Street, and they were just packing everything up. And along comes Michael Vagnini. And he's got, a yellow hoodie on with a Erie hockey shirt on over it. And he asked if he could buy a Canadian flag. And they're like, well, we don't sell Canadian flags here, but we can give you one. And so he says, okay, well, thank you. And, is there any kind of stick that goes with it? It's just the flag, right? Because I want to put it on a fire truck for the Beaver Lake fire station. Okay, Mike's on here. He says his vehicle can be pinged if it's running. Okay, well, it looks like they had it on camera running or whatever, right? So, yeah, that's good. It can be pinged. So I wonder what's going on with that. Are they saying it's not running? It doesn't say anything like that in the media release from the police. So that's a question, right? And if he was able to get away so far away from the city, it should have been pinged at some point because it needs to be running in order to get out of the city, you would think. Anyways, yeah. So if it can be pinged, it has to be running. Okay. So what did we get for pings when it was running would be my question. So anyways, so he gets the flag, and they weren't able to put Fords and Chryslers can't be found unless we're put in independently. Okay, he has a Dodge. Chrysler Dodge? Is that the same company? Dodge? A Dodge Ram, right? So the people there said, well, we'll put it on a stick for you. And he was really impressed with that and started having a conversation with everyone there and said that he was in the hospital for quite some time. And somehow they dropped his phone and his computer and they're broke. So this information wasn't given to the media, or the media hasn't released that. As far as we know, the media said that his girlfriend or partner had his phone. And so don't bother trying to contact him. But he claimed that the hospital broke his phone by accident and his computer, and it was no longer usable. So he was there. He said that he got a transfusion of some kind, and he got the wrong blood. They gave him a 90-year-old person's blood instead of the blood he was supposed to receive as part of his stay in the hospital. And he was a little bothered by that. And he self-discharged, whether it was for that reason or another reason, he self-discharged himself. And that's how he ended up right at the rally, because they were right basically across from the hospital. And he, in conversations with them, was asking them to take pictures of him, asking him if they would interview him and make it public. Which you'd have to wonder, well, why? Well, that's when they asked him about his phone. Well, can't you just do that on your phone? And that's when he said, well, no, it's broke. I don't have a phone. They have it at the hospital. So this whole idea of him being in the hospital is nowhere to be, nowhere out there in the media. These facts or whatever that came right from him directly. And the people there didn't notice anything that he was cognitively challenged at all. They thought he was very well spoken. He looked a little disheveled, like his hair and his facial, he hadn't shaved in a couple days or whatever. Other than that, said no, everything he was saying was perfectly clear. And then some bylaw people came. And he started talking to them about the way that the city was handling the homeless situation in that particular area. They were moving snow back to kind of push out the encampment or whatever, wherever they were residing with their tents. And so he had issue with this a little bit or whatever, or at least had something that he wanted to discuss with bylaw. So there's a video of them talking with bylaw, him talking with bylaw. And so it ended up that the particular person that I was speaking to with Monique, she was there. And she then said, well, okay, I got to leave. I got to go, but took a video of him as she was leaving. And there were 2 people left over from the rally and 2 bylaw officers in the parking lot. And one of the people who were left from the rally, as Michael Vagnini left, just thought they would, just for safety purposes, for his safety, because he was just released from the hospital, thought maybe he's on some medication or something, followed him in his truck out to McCharles Lake Road, or at least, a good distance, and just to make sure that he was safe. And he was driving perfectly fine. They said wasn't swerving. There was no signs of anything as he was driving. Driving just like a normal person. And that's the last time anyone saw him. So we have eyewitnesses, right? We have people that were talking to him just before he went missing. And I would suggest that police speak to these people and get exactly what happened, instead of just going by video surveillance that's shoddy and you can hardly tell if it's him or not. Like, that's not real investigating. No offense to police at all. Like, I mean, maybe you're doing more than what's coming out in the media or what you're telling people. Obviously, that's usually the case. But definitely speak to the people that spoke to him last. They have lots to say. And what was about his stay at the hospital? What was going on there? Maybe something there led to him being. What medications was he given? Did they give him the wrong? He claims they gave him the wrong blood. Could they have given him the wrong medication? I don't know, right? And why didn't he have medication with him? And how do people know this, that he didn't have his medication with him? How do they know that? They're saying he didn't have a phone, he didn't have medication, and he might not be in his right mind. Well, that's a simple little story, but at the same time, what led to that? These are questions we're asking. He's missing. It's not every day a high-profile person in a community goes missing. Like, that's you got to know this is going to be in the public and people are talking about it, and it's going to have to be from a communications person's background. The public are wanting answers very quickly, and there's an onus on the police to be able to communicate that with the community. And if the community is starting to sense or smell something that doesn't seem right, that's not going to help things at all. And so my advice would be to make sure just to do a proper investigation. This thing's going to be done in the light. Like, a lot of investigations don't get much publicity, but this one is because of the profile of who's missing. So, yeah. We wish the best. We hope and we pray for Michael Vagnini's safe return and hope that he's safe now. And if you're somehow in an earshot of this listening, there's people that love and care about you, and you have important things to do in the city. And so we would hope for your safe return. Now, this report that we were getting some coverage on when they had the summit here in Sudbury in Azilda, it's the next topic in Sudbury.com's morning stories. Headline: Toxic drug crisis, complex and escalating, report concludes. So the toxic drug crisis, killing hundreds of people every year and enslaving thousands in addiction, is a complex and escalating tragedy, the region's health unit said. Now, that was well worded, and that is definitely the case. I'm going to read that again because it's exactly right. The toxic drug crisis, killing hundreds of people every year. Now, when it says hundreds, maybe they're referring to local hundreds. because if they're referring to outside local, it's thousands of people, but it's killing many people every year and enslaving thousands in addiction. It's a complex and escalating tragedy, the region's health unit said. In a formal report on the Greater Sudbury Summit they had on toxic drugs held December 2023, Public Health Sudbury and Districts said while the crisis is occurring nationally, it's disproportionately affecting Greater Sudbury and Northern Ontario. So this is a quote from them. Despite the passion and dedication of many Sudbury agencies, leaders, and citizens, the city continues to witness growing numbers of preventable deaths and human suffering related to toxic drugs. That again, very well said, very true. The health unit said in a release, yeah, that's where it came from. It said the best brains and hearts were invited to the table to face and collectively plan the community's path throughout. Sorry, I'm going to go back here. They got the best brains and hearts. They invited them to face and collectively plan the community's path through and out of the crisis. The detailed 47-page document is titled Honoring Voices, Embracing Perspectives, Moving Forward. Well, that's a nice title. You could tell they were thinking of that for a while. Honoring Voices, Embracing Perspectives, Moving Forward. Very popular political term that we hear from many, many politicians. Moving forward, moving forward, so it goes along with, let me be very clear. Let me be very clear. Just so we're clear, moving forward. So if I was a politician, I would start my speech with just putting a bunch of those at the beginning to give myself a chance to think. But anyway, he's got the moving forward in there. It's pretty cool. It's a summary report on Greater Sudbury's Summit on Toxic Drugs. So that's great. It's a 47-page report that now I need to read, along with all the homework I have to do and my capstone project for my master's degree, along with working full time. But anyways, it's a must read, obviously, if we're going to see what the city's planning for those that are struggling with drug addiction. And the picture that they show for as part of this story is very telling, right? We've all seen this picture on the corner of Paris and Brady Street. It's crosses for everyone who's died from addictions here in the city, right across from City Hall of all places, right? So they just look out the window and they have to see that every day. It's so anyways, you can get the report by going to Sudbury.com. They have it there. They have a link to it. So I would encourage everyone, if you want to see what the city's going to do, to go there, read the report, as I am going to be doing as well. The follow-up summary comes 54 days after the summit event was held. So pretty much almost 2 months. It was held December 7th and 8th in Azilda. Leaders and decision makers from a wide variety of health and social wellness agencies. The event was hosted by the City of Greater Sudbury and Public Health Sudbury and Districts. So the document said the summit took in 2 days of presentations from more than 35 experts on diverse topics, including people with lived and living experience of substance use, epidemiologists, research scientists, and experts in harm reduction, also treatment, health and social services, public health, education, justice, and industry. Now, when they say treatment, that's a a little bit of, that term needs to be clarified, because it doesn't say in rehabilitation. So there's no experts in rehabilitation per se, but that could be lumped into treatment or health and social services or education, so any of those, but you don't see that term rehabilitation in there. So you had no rehabilitation experts. Maybe the folks that were there who had lived experience were speaking to the rehabilitation. If in fact they were recovering addicts, they were rehabilitated, right? Which is the goal, I would hope, as Sudburyans, to help our fellow citizens here who are struggling, living in hell, by the way. That's no place to be living in addictions. And a lot of times it goes along with, not always, experiencing homelessness, or at least, you're not in a zen, peaceful way in your life with all of your needs being taken care of, for sure. It's a form of hell. And so if we really do care about our fellow human beings here in our city, we would want them to be rehabilitated, or at least habilitated. If they, let's say right from day one, they grew up in a broken home and they were on meds right from a young age, and they only experienced terribleness, and from a young adolescent age they were hooked on drugs and never even knew what it was like to experience joy in life, to habilitate them, to let them know there can be a way you can truly live in life with joy, with life skills, and with a little direction and some support. You can live a quote unquote normal, if you will, life, where you can at least experience some of these stability, relationships, positive relationships, self-reliance if you get a job, or whatever, go to school, things like this, like make goals in your life that you can achieve, things that you're in control of in your life, whether you're learning it for the first time or you're getting back to that. It's something we definitely need to focus on. But how do we do this? What other places in the world have programs where that's the goal, and they have great success rates getting people back to where they need to get, right? It's something I noticed as we talk about our missing counselor, Michael Vagnini. There's a lot more people on the stream as we talk about it. So the algorithm must be, the more we talk about Michael Vagnini and say his name, I notice we have more viewers all of a sudden. And then as soon as we get off the topic and we're talking about things like this, the viewership kind of, it's already gone up now that I said his name. It's really interesting. These algorithms in the internet world, right? So it's just something I noticed. I just thought I would share that with you all. And again, we're just hoping for a positive outcome with Michael Vagnini, and hope that he has a safe return. Speaking of being, living a life of joy and of purpose with meaning, definitely he has that opportunity to do that, and he's very passionate about serving his community. Anyone I've talked to in his ward have always said that he goes above and beyond for his constituents, that they feel sure he's very unique individual. He dresses flamboyantly. He's got like a different kind of a unique style and character. And that's fine. That just makes him unique. And outside of those things, they just say he's just a very helpful, compassionate, empathetic ward counselor in their ward. That's all I've heard firsthand from anyone I've talked to from his ward. So I just wanted to get that out there. And more on that, hopefully, today, I'm hoping I can get Monique on to explain firsthand her encounter with, and others' encounters with him. And so as I'm getting texts, not knowing who they're coming from, sorry about the sounds coming on the show, whether you're on the radio, checking your phone in the car. Sorry, that's me. It's not your phone. Okay, so let's get to a little national news here. As we know, our taxes keep going up. Carbon tax coming out, they're tripling and quadrupling, and it's pretty crazy. Well, the CBC, who's government funded totally, are taking bonuses still. And we're trying to get to the bottom of that and see why, if everyone's struggling and everyone's being taxed and they just live off tax money alone, why are they taking some of those dollars to the tune of millions of dollars for their upper echelons of CBC to be taking these $1 million bonuses? Like, does that make any sense whatsoever? If you're a government funded organization, why are the leaders taking bonuses? I have no idea. It's a question that needs to be asked, and the Canadian Taxpayers Federation are asking them.
CBC President Catherine Tait was just cross-examined by a parliamentary committee over the millions in taxpayer-funded bonuses handed out at the CBC. Now, we watched the full 2-hour exchange, and we've got 3 main takeaways for you. Number 1, the CBC has handed out 16 million smackers in taxpayer-funded bonuses in 2022 and $99 million in bonuses since 2015. Number 2, Tait gave every indication that executives at the CBC will again be taking a bonus, including herself. And the third takeaway is that Liberal, NDP, and Bloc MPs voted against a motion to force the CBC to say how much in bonuses they paid in 2023. Okay, let's do a little deep dive into the full committee appearance. Now, Tait started her testimony by trying to string together a word salad claiming that the CBC isn't handing out bonuses. She says that they're handing out at-risk or performance pay. That's what Tait said. Yeah, those are just other words for bonuses. But the craziest part about that beginning of the testimony is that the CBC itself acknowledges that they're handing out bonuses. In fact, the CBC gave the Canadian Taxpayers Federation access to information records. I'm holding them here in my hand, and they use the word bonus themselves. Zoom in for a second, folks. Here we are. What's that word right there? Bonus. Bonuses at the CBC. So let's see, according to their own records, how much in bonuses they're handing out. Let me just rattle off a couple numbers for you here, folks. In 2022, the CBC handed out more than $16 million in bonuses, okay? In 2021, $15 million in bonuses. In 2020, $15 million in bonuses. Again, what was happening in 2020 and 2021 to the taxpayers funding their salaries? That's another story for another day. Okay, folks, 2019. $14 million in bonuses. 2018, $13 million. 2017, $8 million. 2016, $8 million. 2015, $8 million in bonuses. You get the moral of the story here, folks. Since 2015, the CBC has handed out $99 million in taxpayer-funded bonuses. Now, to make matters worse, Tait gave every indication that executives at the CBC will once again be getting a bonus in 2023. In fact, she was asked point blank by Member of Parliament Rachel Thomas from Lethbridge if she thought she met her own performance indicators that would trigger a bonus. What was Tait's reply? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Now, it gets even worse, folks, because it always does when you're the taxpayer. MP Thomas brought forward a very simple motion. Force the CBC to bring back to the Canadian Heritage Committee how much in bonuses they're handing out in 2023, right? A simple matter of transparency. But MP Thomas's motion failed. It didn't pass because Liberal, NDP, and Bloc MPs voted against the motion. They voted against that simple motion of transparency. Why don't they want Canadians to know how much the CBC is paying out in bonuses in 2023? Now, Tait even had the gall to claim that the CBC is chronically underfunded. Well, just look back at their annual reports, folks. It's all online. If you look back in the last 5 years, every single one of those years, the CBC is taking more than $1 billion from taxpayers. Okay, so every year, the CBC gets more than $1 billion from taxpayers like you. So does that sound like they're chronically underfunded? Of course not. Okay, folks, so let's recap those three main takeaways. Number one, the CBC handed out $16 million in taxpayer-funded bonuses in 2022 and $99 million in bonuses since 2015. The second main takeaway is that Tate is giving every indication that executives at the CBC will once again be getting a bonus for 2023, including herself. The last main takeaway, folks, is that Liberal, NDP, and Bloc MPs all voted against the motion to force the CBC to disclose to the committee how much in bonuses they're paying out in 2023. All right, folks, if you're sick and tired of the CBC taking more than $1 billion from taxpayers like you, and just sick and tired of all this shenanigans of bonuses at the CBC, well then head over to taxpayer.com and sign the petition to defund the CBC. CBC President Catherine Tate was just
They do have a petition that you can sign and to defund the CBC. Now, do you want to see the CBC defunded per se? I don't necessarily know if I would want it defunded. I'd want it just basically hollowed out and maybe held accountable to doing real journalism. Now, I say that they've been caught, and we've showed it. We've actually showed it on this show of not doing real journalism, of just, feeding us propaganda many, many times over. And it's just something, again, you'd have to go back to past shows, and I'll show it again in the future. But that's something that it stings a little bit. Your money is being given to an organization that's being run like that. They're taking millions and millions of dollars in bonuses. First of all, that's wrong. It's just wrong. You don't do that if it's on the taxpayer's dime. So if you heard Justin Trudeau just gave himself a $2 million bonus this year, how many people would be extremely upset with that? What's the difference? Here's a totally government funded news organization, which makes you think, first of all, that shouldn't even be the case, because then how are they going to give unbiased points of view or news? And then they're taking millions of dollars in bonuses on top of that. It's crazy stuff. I just don't know how people can stand back and allow things like that to happen myself, but it is what it is. So we're praying and hoping for the safe return of Councillor Michael Vagnini, Ward 2 Councillor, Greater City of Sudbury. And we hope we'll have more on that today. And hopefully you can have an interview tomorrow with someone who is speaking with him firsthand just before, we haven't heard from him since. Anyways, tomorrow on the show. So have a safe, wonderful Thursday, everyone. Make sure to listen in tonight for the Sudbury Wolves, their game against the Niagara Ice Dogs right here on CKLU 96.7 FM. And stay tuned now for Earshot Daily. And we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.